Good. Again, one more time. You're encouraged to participate in this poll. We want to know about issue that you wish more people are paying attention to. It's on menti.com and you use the code 84975415. The details are already also in the chat. So a few more seconds before we get started. You can see like three main issue coming up. You can see online safety, fragmentation, spoofing. That's great. All right. Thank you very much. I think we're gonna formally get started. I can go back to sharing my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing your thought on the Menti poll. That was nice. As you can see, internet safety is coming from, and it's really nice to see that because this is something that we're already working together into tackling those. I see fragmentation and so on. Thank you very much again for sharing those issues that you really care about. So again, welcome everyone, and it's a pleasure for me. It's truly energizing to see our global community coming together like today. You're taking time in your morning. I believe some of you is still morning. We are all around the world in your afternoon or evening to really come together as we reflect and continue to shape the internet that we want for everyone. And thank you again for participating in the Menti poll as we work together to shape and protect the internet for really everyone. So, but before we dive in, let me take you through some few important housekeeping so that we make sure that this community call is smooth, inclusive, and accessible to everyone. So on language and interpretation, so today's call include live interpretation in Spanish, French, and English. If you would like to listen to your primary language, please just click to the interpretation icon on your Zoom toolbar, and you can select your preferred language. And don't forget to mute the original audios so that you can have a more clear experience. As always, to support our interpreters, please speak slowly and clearly when you are intervening. On audio, chat, and question, please keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking or intervening. This is not a webinar, this is a Zoom call. For questions, please use the Q&A icon or panel on Zoom. And don't forget that you can type your question in your preferred language in Spanish, French, or English. And please add your name and your location after your question. This call is being recorded and it will be shared with our community members. We are also using Zoom AI note taking, but for privacy reason, we are not accepting third-party AI into the meeting. So if you have your AI component that is following you, those will not be allowed to the meeting. And finally, as we are gathering us here together, please follow our shared codes of conduct. We all share the same values. We are a community built on respect, inclusiveness, curiosity, and collaboration. So we will deeply appreciate if everyone can uphold these values throughout this session. So now that we have all the technical and essential in place, let's turn to why we are here. Today marks the start of our 2026 community called Journey, designed to inspire, to create connection, to enable collaboration, and to celebrate the work that we do all around the world. So this first one, we're going to be concentrating on inspiring each other, and you will have many other coming throughout the year. It's an opportunity for us to connect, to realign, to re-energize around the work that we do. And on the next 90 minutes, we are going to explore our 2026 action plan and why this year really matters as we implement our 2030 strategy. We will share how you can get involved, no matter your expertise on your region. And one of the most exciting part of this session will be our World Cafe Dialogue, where your lived experiences, your local realities, and your lesson learned will guide our collective direction. And then we will end by a virtual networking. Most of you like using this session to reconnect, at least live, with some of the community members that you know. So this call is not just a briefing or updates. This is a space for co-creation. And you'll see as we will go into breakout rooms and get your thought on some of the questions that we have prepared. And now it's my pleasure to transition to the heart of today's program. As we begin this new year of action and possibility, there is no better person to grant us in our shared direction than the person who has been championing the Internet Society mission for many years. Sally Wenford, the Internet Society President and CEO, and also the Internet Society President, Internet Society Foundation President and CEO as well. Sally continue to inspire us with her vision, her clarity, and her deep belief in the power of people, of you, our global community, to shape a stronger and more resilient internet. Today, Sally will walk us through our 2026 action plan, highlight the priority, and will guide our collective effort to help us connect the dots and understand why this year truly matters. So please join me in welcoming our President and CEO, Sally Wenford. So Sally, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Victor. It is a pleasure to be with all of you today as we begin 2026 and look ahead as to what's going to be an amazing year for the Internet Society and the Internet Society community. It's wonderful to be here today and see so many familiar faces and names, and also be welcoming some new faces and new names into our community. We value this community, and really these kinds of sessions are part of the best part of my job, because I get to meet with the community, and without all of you, there is no Internet Society. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to be on this call and for everything each and every one of you does in support of our shared mission. I'm here to talk about what's at stake for achieving the internet that we want and how we get there together. And I hope that you've had an opportunity to take a look at our 2026 action plan. I am not here to read it to you in detail, but I am here to speak a little bit about some of our top priorities. This action plan is designed to address the forces that are getting in the way of people having access to a reliable, resilient, and affordable internet. We saw in the little METI poll that Victor ran a few minutes ago, and the one that we ran earlier today, in the earlier call, there are some real challenges to our vision of the internet, an internet that's open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy for everyone. Concerns about safety, concerns about trust, misinformation, affordability, digital literacy, digital safety were things that came up in a big way earlier today. And these are things that are getting in the way of people having the kind of access to a reliable, resilient, affordable internet that we stand for. And we want an internet, a future that where people are protected, where they're safe, where they're secured, and that is overall governed by the multi-stakeholder model. The action plan that we presented and that was adopted by our board of trustees is designed to tackle two main global challenges that you would have seen in our 2030 strategy. First is global inequality, that the lack of internet access, the lack of affordable, meaningful access is a contributor to global inequality that we need to fight back against. And also an increasing lack of trust in the internet. As people come online, do they feel safe? Do they feel secure? Do they feel that they can function in the digital world safely? And our strategy is designed to address those two global challenges. If we can go to the next slide, please. The slide that you see here is a reflection of how we organize our work at the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation into programs that gets us organized, allows us to measure our progress and demonstrate impact in the world, and hopefully helps provide you some structure to how you engage with the Internet Society based on your areas of expertise, your passion, your interests, your local environment, and what you think your community needs most. And what you'll see here are programs that I think are very familiar to you. I'm going to speak to the four programs kind of in the back of the slide in more detail in the next few slides. The three front slides on the first one, Internet Insights and Innovation, we remain committed to producing and collating data about the health of the internet, the resilience of the internet, data that can help us and our community make better decisions about our investments, our advocacy, and the work that we do on the ground. Community and partner mobilization is built in throughout all of our programs, but also has a program unto itself so that we ensure that our global community gets the attention, the resources, and the support it needs to do its work on the ground. And then finally, the transformations are really more internal operational activities that we are undertaking as an organization in order to strengthen our operations and build a culture of excellence that allows us to have impact globally. So I will speak to the back four, but those first three are as important as anything that we do. Next slide. Community-centered connectivity. This should be familiar to many of you if you've been part of the Internet Society for a long time. For the Internet Society, going back to its earliest days, we have been about bringing more people online. We fundamentally believe that the internet becomes more valuable the more people that are able to participate in it and contribute to its growth and success. And we know that as internet infrastructure has grown around the world, there are still incredibly difficult communities that need to be reached, where traditional economic or business decisions and business environments don't reach those communities for any number of reasons. And the Internet Society for at least the past decade has been deeply committed to bringing connectivity to the hardest to reach communities around the world. We are committed this year to funding 25 community deployments, but that number may seem small, but surrounding that number is a tremendous amount of capacity building, training, infrastructure deployment, community building, technical community support that goes into both supporting new deployments, but also ensuring that existing deployments are sustainable. There's advocacy and policy development that goes into that as well. And so this remains a key focus for the Internet Society in 2026. And I know for many of you, as you build and try to strengthen the internet infrastructure in your countries, this work is really quite important to you, and many of you participate in it. Next slide. In order to bring connectivity to the hardest to reach places, we have to fundamentally work from a foundation of affordable and reliable access. And again, this is a bedrock of the Internet Society, our work to strengthen local peering infrastructure, to build local technical communities has been part of our work for as long as I've been at the Internet Society, which is quite a long time. And we are as committed to this work as ever. We do this work through funding, through grant making, training, policy advocacy, community building, and many, many of you are a part of that in different ways. This is what enables us to bring connectivity to those hard to
Yeah.
reach communities, is if we have a basis of affordable and reliable access in the country. Our shift in the years ahead is to build on the success that we've had in developing country markets and extend that out to least developed countries and small island developing states. That's a particular focus for us in the years ahead, where we know that this kind of support and focus is really needed if we're going to make an impact on digital inequality. Next slide. Online trust and safety. This is a relatively new program for the Internet Society. Last year, we challenged ourselves to develop an online trust and safety program with the community. So the program that we're building out and deploying this year was co-developed with the community. We observed that many of our chapters in particular were already working really hard to bring online safety resources to their communities. They were responding to a particular demand or need within their local environments. And so what we decided to do was listen to all of you, understand what was driving that work, what gaps you were seeing, what questions you needed to answer, what resources you didn't have that you wish you had. And I'm seeing Nancy here on the screen. She played a big role in doing this kind of outreach over the last year to give us the insight that we needed to build a program around online trust and safety. And in 2026, our plan is to deploy an online safety hub that we hope is responsive to the needs that you identified with us in 25. And we want to hear from you. So we have a target that 40% of our chapters and our special interest groups and standing groups contribute to the continued development of our online trust and safety resources. We want to hear from you. Are these useful? Do we need more? Is there another gap that you've identified that we didn't know about? And really co-develop this in the years ahead. Importantly, this links to our connectivity work. As we're bringing these new communities online, these are individuals who've never been connected. We will now have the capacity to bring them closer to digital safety resources as they come online. So as they're new to this digital ecosystem and trying to understand how to navigate safely and protect their privacy and protect their children online, they will have these resources readily available in these new communities that are coming online. So I'm really excited about this, and this is, again, a bit of a new area for us and a new way of working with our community around the world. Next slide. And finally, our open and trustworthy internet. This is the program that houses much of our advocacy work around the world. As you all know very well, we are in an environment where the internet and the principles that this community believes in, principles of openness, global interoperability, trust, privacy, safety, these principles are under enormous pressure around the world. They're under pressure from governments, from industry, from even users who aren't sure how to navigate in the modern digital ecosystem. And so we have a lot of work to do to work with policymakers to stand up for these principles when we think they're under threat, and to work with governments and other parts of the ecosystem to develop the right policies that will support the principles we believe in. And we want to succeed. I'm a believer in winning when we can. And so we want to see that in the countries and our international fora that we advocate in 60% of those environments, we are successful, that we see favorable policy results. There's another metric in our plan as well, that we want to do this work with all of you, that this is work that is most impactful when conducted on the ground by local experts like many of you are in this meeting. And so this advocacy work is really an important part of our community outreach and the work that we all do together. Next slide. Or is that the end again? I think yes. Okay, this all right. The team is going to speak to you about this next slide in more detail. But what I do want to say is, as I brief you on this action plan, I hope that you look at it and start to see yourself in it. Find the places where your expertise, your talent, your passion, your local demands or environments fit into this plan. Speak up, volunteer, tell us what you need. That's really what this call is all about, is to try to ensure that the community understands where the organization is going, this organization that you've decided to be a member of, and that you find ways where your work intersects with the work that we're trying to do, and that we can work together on it. So that's a big foundation of everything we do, and I think that's the purpose of this call and one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here. So thank you for your attention, and I don't know where we are on time, Victor, but I'm happy to take questions for a few minutes if there is time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Sally. That was very clear and inspiring. Yes, we still have a few minutes for question. Christine and Nancy, Piquet, I believe we are. I was sharing my screen. I couldn't see the
Yeah, there are no
Q&A
questions
section.
in the Q&A yet. So if there are questions, type them in the Q&A or let us know in a different way, either by raising your hand or typing it in the chat. But the Q&A is the official channel. It's the icon at the bottom of your screen if you didn't see that, if you didn't find it yet.
And it might take a minute or two for people to get their questions in. That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christine. And yes, and we have those who want to speak live. So, Dokozo, you have the floor.
Thank you. Mine is just to appreciate. This is a great way of beginning the year, and Honorable President, we feel we belong as we begin the year with involving us members. We are indeed going to make sure that we can champion these in our local spheres, and we replicate them to make sure that the global sphere becomes even better. I really appreciate this. Thank you, Victor, and thank you all. Hope we are going to have a great 2026 with great impact. And we're setting the issue of cyber safety, online safety. We believe that we are not just giving half package now. ISOC is now embracing the whole body of the internet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dokozo. And I know we know each other. You can introduce yourself. I know you are from our Zimbabwe chapter. So thank you for the kind remarks. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there are some questions coming in through the Q&A now. The first one is, what are the main barriers preventing universal internet access?
Oh, that's a big
That
question.
is from Vaibhav Tandon.
It's a big question, and it's something that's been studied at great length. I think the challenges vary by country and sometimes by culture and markets. There's general issues about availability of infrastructure, the competitiveness of the market to drive down costs, the availability of infrastructure, and in really remote areas, one of the things we heard about in the call earlier was about the availability of power infrastructure and the importance the important role that plays in sustainable connectivity in very hard to reach places or areas that are susceptible to climate change and the effects of climate change around the world. So it's a varied answer. There's a lot of concerns or questions about digital literacy, that just the availability of infrastructure isn't sufficient if people don't know how to use it, if they don't have the skills to interact meaningfully online. There's a whole discussion around meaningful connectivity, that it's not enough to have basic connectivity, that if you want to interact meaningfully in the digital ecosystem, the speed rates need to be sufficient, the reliability, resiliency of the infrastructure is important, affordability, languages, a whole range of issues. So it's not enough to just drop in infrastructure. There's a lot of complexity that goes in, and candidly, the remaining, I think the number is now about 2.2 billion people who are not online. If they were easy to connect, they would have been connected, right? So now we really are facing the hardest to reach people, and we are undeterred by that. We will keep going.
Thank you very much, Sally. We still have a few questions, but I believe please keep adding your question to the Q&A, and some of the question will just type the answer directly there. And I know we have a lot of interesting things also to discuss on our agenda today. I want us to keep on track. So Sally may be still here with us for a few minutes, but before I transition to the next session, Sally, if you may have one last remark to share before we move to the next session.
I saw a question somewhere. There's a couple different channels where questions seem to be coming, but I did see a question around, is fragmentation still part of the Internet Society's work? And I just want to say, absolutely. One of the big concerns increasingly, especially given global climate that we're all working in, is rise of proposals kind of amounting to digital sovereignty, things like that really trying to erect barriers, whether it's trade barriers or policy barriers or regulatory barriers or things like that. And sometimes they come from a good place, trying to address a public interest challenge, but that the way they get implemented actually creates fragmentation in the infrastructure and in the user experience. So this is a really, really big concern of ours. And while you don't see a specific program on fragmentation, what you will see is a lot of the advocacy work that we do is in support of a global network of networks, bottom-up, decentralized infrastructure that we know drives resilience, redundancy, and affordability around the world. So yes, those issues around fragmentation remain very important to us. And then just in closing, you have an exciting program. I've been watching the results even from the program earlier today. The input that you provide today will be taken on board by the Internet Society staff. We want to hear from you. And so please participate actively. We're looking forward to what you have to say, and for an amazing year ahead. And I look forward to seeing many of you around the world or in future calls like these. So back over to you, Victor.
Thank you very much, Sally. And thank you again, everyone, for being here with us. I believe Sally introduced overview our action plan were inspiring to you to take local action. And the theme of this call is really from global to local, how you can take a concrete local action to translate our global vision into really concrete local action. So on that, I'm inviting my colleague Nancy to share how you can get involved.
Thank you, Victor. Can you please share the presentation? There you go. Excellent. So now probably you are asking yourself, how can you get involved? And the answer is here, our 2026 member journey, which the main objective is, as Victor said, going from global to local. And throughout all the year, we will have different opportunities to come together. Today is the first opportunity, and during each of our calls, we will have different intentions. Today is about inspiration, learn about the 2026 action plan, hear from our peers globally, and identify issues that matter. Then, during April 9th, our call will be about connection. Join community mobilization, connect with like-minded peers, and start planning activities. Then, and this is the fun part, you will hear from your community engagement managers, because we will bring the global into the local, and we will add our flavor to our strategy. And finally, on November 19th, we will celebrate. Yes, celebration is really important to showcase collective impact, receive recognition, and build momentum for 2027. So you all are welcome to join this really nice journey where we can work together. Next one, please.
Can you still see my screen? Something happened.
I can see your screen, but we are still in the same slide.
Good.
There you go. Okay, so second important question that you may have. So what are the opportunities that where we can get involved? And here, believe me, I need some drums. Now we have this great opportunities dashboard, everything in one single place with one single click. So we will paste the link to the dashboard so that you can bookmark this page. And here you can see a quick screenshot of how it looks like. Within this dashboard, you will find events, working sessions, consultations and surveys, ongoing opportunities, funding and support, and upcoming deadlines. And yes, you asked us for this, and now you have it. So please enjoy it. And before we move to the next slide, I want you to bookmark this page, because this is the way you can get involved. Next one, please. And finally, and this is another thing that you asked a lot, how can I learn about the events that my chapter, that the chapters are doing? And yes, we covered that too in the dashboard. So if you go to the dashboard, there is a section called community events. There you will find all the different activities that our chapters can offer. If you are a chapter leader and you want to add these activities to our dashboard, please contact your community engagement manager or send an email through chapter-support@isoc.org. So that's it. I think that the important part of all this is that you have the information, and more than that is that you take action. We are really making a difference in this world, and we just need one thing, which is you. So please join us, join our journey, and take action. And now I will give the floor to Kyle. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Well, as Nancy said, it's time for you now. And we're so glad you're here, and we can't wait to hear your insights. As Sally said, this is about you and learning what's going on in your worlds, in your realms. To get the conversation flowing today, we're going to be using a format called the World Cafe Dialogue. So think of this as a structured chat. Instead of sitting through a presentation, you'll be placed in groups where you'll be sharing real world experiences. This method helps to facilitate a focused conversation. We've set up breakup rooms in English, French, and Spanish, so you can speak in the language that you're most comfortable with. And the plan will be to spend the next 30 minutes or so exploring two big overarching questions. The first question being, what's one critical aspect of your local reality that the global community should be aware of? And secondly, what's one lesson you've learned about activating or mobilizing your community that could help others? So each room will have some moderators that will help capture highlights on Harvest Whiteboard. And when we regroup in about 30 minutes, we'll look at those highlights together to find common threads that will help shape our 2026 action plan. I'd like to thank our community volunteers that are working as moderators for this session. So thank you, Caleb, Eduardo, Dina, Eduardo, and Usama. So right now you will see a jump in or join a breakout room on your screen, or else you can go to the bottom of your screen where it will say breakout rooms, and you'll be able to choose the preferred language of your choice. And please join the group, and we will see you in about 30 minutes, and excited to hear what you all have to say. So if we could start that, please. See you in a few.
To join the breakout room, you may just click on the three dots that you have at the bottom, go to breakout rooms, and choose your preferred language. And if you are struggling, please let us know and we will send you your way. Joe Sankwamba, if you can tell me which language do you want to join, I can send you your way.
Abigail, I think Sankumba would go to French. I'm just typing a response to French on a different line, Q&A. Abigail, do you see the notes in the chat? Desiree would like to go to the English room. Desiree Milosevic. And Wilfredo to Spanish. Those of you still here, there are active conversations going on in the breakout rooms. If you want to join in either English, French, or Spanish, you can find the breakout rooms at the bottom of your screen. If you click on the breakout rooms icon or click on the three dots, let's say more, to find the breakout room so you can join the conversations. Otherwise, it's very silent here. That's because the conversations are happening in the breakout rooms. And a lot of people are actively in the breakout rooms right now. So please join so that you don't miss out on the conversations. If you're struggling, yes, please type in the chat. So there's Nabil who would like to join the French room. Abigail, if you can help. So type in the chat if you're struggling to find the breakout room so that we can help you get to your rooms. Just quickly checking in here, in case some of you joined late and are wondering what the heck is happening here. We're in breakout rooms. The conversations are currently happening in 3 rooms, one in English, one in French, and one in Spanish. And there are a lot of people actively talking, exchanging. So if you want to join the conversations for the next 20, 25 minutes, please do go to the breakout room icon at the bottom of your screen to join either the English, the French, or the Spanish breakout room so that you don't miss out on the conversations. It's very silent here because the conversations are happening in those rooms right now. If you don't see the breakout rooms icon, it may be hidden behind the more sign at the bottom of your screen, or you can type in the chat English, French, or Spanish so that we can help you get to your room. We don't want you to miss out on the conversations. Okay, we have Malenka who would like to go to English. And Abdullah Nasib, also English.
And send me, this is Alfredo, to the English one as well.
Alfredo, was that you, Alfredo Calderon? Yes, sorry, I'm not seeing my screen. Good to see you, or hear you at least. So Alfredo to the English. Abigail, if you can help him.
Hola Álvaro, ya vienen todos en camino al main room, entonces si quieres esperar acá. I'm bringing
Ok,
everyone back to the main room.
muy amable.
Gracias.
Sí, muchas gracias. Sí, me cayó una visita inesperada aquí en la oficina y ya no
Tranquilo.
pude responder al resto de cosas que nos solicitaron. Disculpen.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had some great discussions in your groups. I was with the English speakers and we had such a great conversation. We barely got anything done for the second one. I'd like to start off by having our moderator, Caleb. If I could ask you, Caleb, maybe if you could provide kind of an overview or some of the recurring themes that what were local realities in the English room. What did you get from that? Caleb, if you could provide a little bit of comment here.
Okay, thank you so much, Kyle. So one of the few things that um, we had as something that was recurring was access to internet infrastructure and internet needs. Um, and then more chapters need more trainings. There is also an intersection between AI and what it serves within the community when it comes to best practices. One other thing that that was mentioned was the dominant impact of certain regulators, or rather, not regulators, operators, that doesn't give room for and please correct me for those who made those statements if I am not hitting it correctly. Please feel free to post in the chat. And dominant operators within, let's say, specific country, and the inequalities that it brings because of the fact that most of them can't um, expect or have competition and stuff like that. So Canada also mentioned that they also have infrastructural issues and talent issues, specifically when it comes to building a bigger and technical community, simply because of the fact that their economy and most of the things that they do around the digital ecosystem is tied to the US, and there's a good need for them to also find ways around that. And Pakistan also mentioned that there are challenges around internet speed and misinformation, and need to also increase digital literacy. So those are like um, things that I'd like to mention, outside the fact that we also have the underserved and vulnerable groups who need sustainable programs to keep them all connected and continue with their social economic activities as well. So those are just examples that were given during our own session. And so I'd like
Caleb,
to leave it to others. Yeah.
Caleb, in terms of the ways to best mobilize or get your communities working, what was the one that we had for the second one? I think that was a really great one, and I think it would resonate well with others, but it's the guiding support, yes.
Yes. Someone did mention about guiding people to use the internet fairly well for learning and how they can use it to uplift life and standards. That was for the second question. Unfortunately we are unable to actually dwell so much on this aspect because we had a lot of contributions on the first question. But I just like that if anyone still has contribution on the second question, please feel free to drop it in the chat and we will capture that as we go on in this conversation and wrap up session.
Thank you for that, Caleb. I'd like to move to Osama and the French room. If you can maybe share some of
sure.
your thoughts, please.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Hi, everyone. So we had some great discussions in the French room. I will start maybe by the first obstacle of the cost of the internet. Many communities present they are suffering from the high costs of the affordable internet. Also, the energy problem. Many local communities suffer from low energy or the absence of the electricity, so which impacts directly the internet outcome. Also, we talked about, for example, Sakumba from Guinea mentioned that there is a lack of or difficult access to commercial licenses for local internet providers, which could really help if it is the case. My last maybe point will be the maintenance of the infrastructure in the rural areas. For example, what Michelle mentioned. So it was a short highlight and summary of the French room. Thank you very much, Kyle. Turn to you.
And I will add that Usama did an excellent work in moderating, and feel free to share the summary in French because I don't want you to miss on the key point that you collect very well in the way you phrase the question. So excellent work, Usama.
And Osama, for the second question, in terms of mobilizing the communities, maybe you could share some of the thoughts that the group had in regards to that.
For the second question, we had some excellent answers as well. For example, how to motivate volunteers and make them more engaged. The idea of, for example, of Romano to create hackathons and advocacy opportunities for the fellows and for the volunteers was an excellent idea to have it as a lesson. Also, to create more initiatives, more local events that will help. Also, to create some allies, some local sponsors and local partners. Also, was something to mention for the second part as well. Yeah, that was my note taken from our room. Yeah.
Excellent. Many thanks to Osama and Victor for your attention there. I'd like to move now to our Spanish speaking room and Eduardo. Maybe you could go over some of the areas that were discussed in your room, please.
Yes, in the first question, do you want me to go through the two questions or just one?
You want to go through both of them? If you'd like, that would be great.
Yeah, I can do that. In the first questions had to do with the local reality. It was interesting. Many of the experiences in the local reality has to do with the government, the local governments in their countries are making very difficult for ISOC chapters, and I'm putting this in the context of ISOC chapters, to do like, for example, things that they do with community networks. They are not allowed to publish the information about these efforts or what they are or where they are. And please correct me if I read this, to the people that said this, mentioned this, if I'm saying it in the wrong way. But other one says in my country is non-government NGOs are not looked at in a positive way. So it's very difficult for them to not just only to create the chapter as such as an NGO, but allow them to make to advertise the chapter and making people having people know them better. So and the other thing is that they have a different experience depends on which country they go. Like they can have access to this application if they go to the next door country, and when they come back to their country, they don't have access to that application. So the way they experience internet in their country is different as is experienced in another way. And this has to do with censorship or whatever regulations are there in that specific country. So, they also say that we should expand the our mission in the ISOC chapters, specifically, explaining people what governance is, that is not really governance within respect of their country, but governance within the internet, and people don't understand that difference. So it's very important for them to explain that difference, so that when they talk about governance, the government doesn't think that they're talking about them because they don't know. So that's basically what it is for the first question. The second question that has to do with what things people are doing in the country that other chapters can try, they can look at, is one of them, and that they are using, one of the chapters are using Zoom, especially the registration part when you get to an event. If we do events, all chapters do event, and probably all chapters do it with Zoom. But in any case, I'm using Zoom as a example. When do you register? Ask a single question: do you want to become a member of our chapter? And that you will see that's a very good way of outreaching new members, and it doesn't cost any money. The only effort that you have to do is once they say yes, then you have to start doing something to engage and have people register at the global level. Also, it's good that they mentioned that it's good that you share your ideas with small groups within your organization, and that will allow these small groups to develop ideas and discussions that most probably will expand into the whole organization. That's one way they are doing things. If you do, when you do engagement for the membership, you can distribute this through various groups, so no one person do it. So you distribute this effort across, as it's easier to do, so you don't overburden your volunteers. Also, there was another thing that was mentioned, that we should keep the communication with our regional chapters. So if we have to do something in a block for whatever reason, then you can look for efforts to be coordinated in a regional way. There was another chapter that mentioned that one way that it works for them very good is that this chapter is specialized into a specific theme or event or focus. For example, community networks. That's their focus, and that's what the events they do, and the capacity building and all of that. So they might, you can do all kinds of things, but in their case, it has worked very good or very well to focus on a specific thing within the mission of ISOC. Also, there was another one that mentions that it's very, very positive that you create alliances between other organizations, universities, telecommunication organizations, and other organizations that are similar NGOs that you can support within the community, because these alliances, not only you will have a channel to teach your part of the missions of what you we are all about. But these alliances will help you. When you're creating events, you can work in collaboration, and it really expands your the way you do things. And then there was another one. The last one is that you should have some kind of procedure document that will standardize your work, because they said that when they were doing a community network, they didn't have that, and there has to do something with the spectrum. They didn't have a standard procedure that worked with that. So make sure that your chapter has very well documentation about the things that you are doing. So once you are not there, the people that follow you can do that. So that's basically what it is for the Spanish part. See if somebody else wants to add something to it, please, you're welcome to. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo, for that. It's great to hear these lessons learned and ways that we can cultivate our communities and watch them flourish, reinforce, and grow. So some great insights there. So thank you to the everyone for your participation in those areas. Yeah, this is some really great info and ways for us to look at how we work on our 2026 action plan. I'd like to give the floor back to Victor for some kind of final words before we move towards the social.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Carl. I can see how active and inspiring all the conversation in the breakout rooms were. And thank you, Usama. Thank you, Caleb, Eduardo, for summarizing the conversation. And in a nice way, we hope all those lessons were inspiring and for others to try to at least take one and apply in your own region or country. So what next, as Carl mentioned, we are formally closing the first part of our global community call. I would say the working session, but most of you really like the virtual networking. So we thought that after we close the part on the working part, we can stay online for another 30 minutes. It's optional to really network, and that networking will happen just like we did for the breakout rooms. You can join your language of preference, and we won't have interpretation in the networking. Just like in real life networking, you don't walk around with an interpret behind you. So you can join, and if you want to try other language, you can still go and try practice your French or practice your Spanish or English in other rooms. But before we do that, I'm looking on I just want to share some few reminders on what is coming next regarding our series of online community calls. And as mentioned earlier by Carl, this is the first one for the year. We will have many others, and Nancy mentioned we will have others coming up in April. If my memory is correct, the next one going to be on April 9. So you have more detail coming to your mailbox soon. And that call will focus really on reorganizing on concrete action that we can take together. So that we will see how we can continue to mobilize to achieve our shared goals. So lastly, if I'm missing something, Christine, this was a teamwork preparing this call, and you saw many of my colleagues here with a staff sign or here. This was really a team call working together. So if I'm missing something, Christine, Carl, you want to jump in, or Nancy or Abigail, you want to jump into anything before we formally close the
Nothing
working part
to
of our
add,
call.
Victor. Just a big thank you for all of you to be here. It was great seeing you and following the animated and lively discussion. So I hope you will continue these in a more informal context in the breakout rooms. Just big thank you for joining. It's great to have you here.
Excellent. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to be going around. I know Caleb is the part that you like the most, our virtual social. So
Caleb is going to be in the French room, I think, right? I have to say that.
And if you are struggling to join the breakout rooms, just let us know and we can send you your way.
Ah, yes, I'm very sorry. My network is not well. It's disturbing me too much.
Would you like us to assign you to a breakout room, James?
Pardon?
Would you like to go to an informal networking? We have sessions in English, Spanish, and French.
Oh, I prefer English because my
Perfect.
best language is Kakwa.
Perfect. I'm sending you there. You will receive a notification. No.
Okay.
It was a good meeting. Thank you very much.
Glad to hear that, Kosi, and thank you for the contributions. That's really what makes this a good meeting. So thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Here we go. We are back in the main room again. Bye. Bye, Abigail.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
main
Thank
Good to
you.
room.
see
Bye,
you.
bye.
Bye,
Have a
and
nice
thank
Bye,
day.
you.
everybody. Yep.
Thanks, Christine. Good job.
Nice to have
Bye-bye.
you all. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, thank you very much. So I will close the session then.
Thank you. Thanks, Abigail, and everyone. See you all soon.
See
Bye.
you.